The holidays are almost over, which means our kids need to get back into their everyday routine so that they're ready for the new school year. And we know what happened last year. There were lots of complaints, there was a lot of pushback, and there was some refusal to even go back to school. Now, we want to avoid this from happening this year. So there are some essential steps you need to be doing right now before the holidays end so that you can support your child in their transition back to school. I'm Lisa, a child behavior expert and a parent coach. I have over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. My approach focuses on sensory processing, executive functioning, emotional regulation, and much more to get to the heart of your child's challenges. When we get to the root problem, we can find the right strategies and supports to help them manage and thrive in life. So during the holidays, we all know our kids' routines get misplaced. They start to stay up later, they start to play on their iPads or play video games much more, they wake up a lot later. So their sleep schedules are everywhere. But we know that when school comes back, they need to be back on their routine. But you remember last year what happened. When that first day of school came, your kids were dragging their feet. They were struggling to get out of bed. They were so not used to waking up early for school because of the holidays. They were staying up late, waking up late, and taking their time in the morning. But this can't happen this year. They can't be taking their sweet time because this is getting you stressed and getting you into a lot of trouble with your work and making you fall further and further behind in your own stuff that you need to do. But what's more is last year, your kid was refusing to go to school. They were struggling so hard with this transition that they were begging, crying, screaming to not go to school. And you notice that your child is feeling anxious, even now as you mentioned to them that school is going to be starting in a few weeks. And you can see that anxiety build up in them. So if you want to avoid your child from pushing back this year and you want this transition going back to school to be as smooth as possible, I'm going to give you some solutions. If you can relate to this so far and you're finding this helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss episodes like this. All right, so our first solution is really looking at your child's bedtime and wake up time. If your child is now sleeping later, waking up later, we need to start shifting that earlier and earlier as the days approach the first day of school. So we need to do this incrementally, gradually, right? So ideally you want to start a good week before school starts. Every single day, start getting your child into bed 10 minutes earlier until you can reach the point of the time they were sleeping at night and they're waking up at the proper time for school. So that shift, you need to adjust. I'm saying 1 week. Sometimes it might take a little longer. So that's why I'm glad you're watching this video now, because it's gonna give you enough time to actually start implementing these strategies today so that you're ready and your child is ready when school starts. So how I would suggest doing this is letting your child know if right now they are sleeping at 11 p.m. and their typical sleep time is 9 p.m. You've got 2 hours. So you have to look at the increments of how many days it's going to take to get them back into that 9 p.m. bedtime. So you might want to do 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but that's going to require a good 8 days. So you're going to tell your child that we are going to start sleeping 15 minutes earlier each day because school is starting in a couple weeks. So as you get your child to start moving that time back, you can use visual timers to help them visualize when is that 15 minutes increment, right? So if let's say it is 10:30 and you want your child to get in bed by 10:45, set a 15-minute visual timer, letting them know that in 15 minutes you will have to go to bed. So that way they can actually have a gauge, a sense of time. If your child has ADHD, they struggle with time management and awareness of time. So using a visual timer to help them see when it is that they actually need to start getting ready and start going to bed is crucial. The second thing you want to do is reintroduce routines. So if your child's responsibilities for school is to pack their own backpacks, pick out their own clothes, and pack their own lunches for the next day, start getting them to do those things a week before school starts, even if they're not actually going anywhere. Get them to start doing these things even if they have nowhere to go for that week. The more you get your child to practice these routines that they were doing before, the more their mind's going to get back into gear more quickly when the time is there, when school is actually starting. And this is especially important if you have a child with ADHD or autism who is struggling with executive functioning skills. Their ability to plan and organize might be a big challenge for them. So we want them to practice as much as they can, especially if they've gotten out of that routine, so that they can get used to it and be ready for the first day of school. My third tip is using a visual calendar. So getting a huge calendar, pasting it on a visible wall somewhere in the kitchen, in their room, and showing them how many days are left until the beginning of school. That way they can actually start getting their minds in gear, recognizing that, hey, I'm only in holiday mode for a couple more days. I can actually see it on my calendar that I'm gonna have to start getting back into my routine. That visual can really help your child focus their mindset and process that they will be going back to school in the next couple of days or weeks. And again, this is especially helpful for our kids with ADHD and autism who struggle to plan and organize their time. When there is a visual to pair with your verbal instructions, your reminders that school is starting, it helps them to process this information much more easily and can help them prepare for what is to come. Now, you might have a child who is feeling anxious. So you've noticed this about any kind of transition. Maybe it was the start of school back in September, or maybe it was last year when they were coming out of the holiday season, and you could see that they were getting anxious about returning back to school. And this can be a quite normal process in what children experience when it comes to going back to school, because you're going from a very preferred activity. Like the holiday seasons are typically very fun and enjoyable for kids because you don't have to wake up early, you don't have work to do, you get to see your friends, and you just get to do whatever you want. To go from that to now structure and that you have to go to a place where you're gonna be learning and having to put in mental work, this can be a really anxiety-provoking transition for some of our kids. So what we can do to help them is prepare on what they should expect when they return to school. So in some cases, you might wanna reach out to your child's teacher and ask them, what are some of the things that my child will be doing when they return back to school? And try to get a mix of not just schoolwork, but like fun things. Maybe there's going to be some fun events. Maybe there's going to be a bake sale happening or a field trip to a ski resort. Whatever it is, try to gather that information and share that with your child so that they have something positive to look forward to. The next thing you can do is set some goals with your child. When your child is, again, moving from Christmas holiday mode to now school mode, it can feel like such a negative shift for them. Going from, oh, I had so many fun things to do, to now I've got nothing fun. Like we're talking about kids who really don't look forward to school. Maybe they really struggle with school, and so they kind of see school as a negative thing. We want to set some positive goals for them. What are some things that they want to achieve this school year? Whether it is academically or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something in their extracurriculars or things that they do after school. So for instance, maybe you can talk to your child about setting a goal around a sport that they really love to do, right? Once the school year's rolling around, we have different incremental goals when it comes to soccer because your child really loves playing that sport. When you set interests that they have as goals mixed in with the school year, that can be a positive motivation for them to get back into gear and be ready for that new school year. And one final tip that I want to give to you as parents, and this is especially true for our kids who find school challenging and are feeling anxious. When your child is showing that worry, You want to sit with them in that feeling. Whatever emotion comes up, maybe they are able to tell you that I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling worried, I'm feeling sad. I'm sad that the holidays are over and we have to go back to school. So rather than jumping right in and trying to push away the emotions that they're feeling, and just by saying something like, hey, you'll be okay, come on, let's just go. What that does, it actually dismisses the feelings and emotions they have, and it can actually exacerbate the anxiety that they're feeling. So what we want to do is sit with their emotions. Let them express to you those feelings and validate them. Validate that, hey, I know you're feeling anxious. I know you're feeling quite sad that the holidays are over. We're going to work together to try to make this new school year positive. And this is where you can start transitioning into problem solving, right? How can we start making things less anxious for you? And how can we start building out different strategies to help you out at school, right? And this is where conversations with your child is so important. You want them to be able to share with you, well, what is it that is making you feel like you don't want to go to school? Is it that socializing with friends is really difficult? That you can't seem to make friends with certain kids that you wish you could? Or maybe certain academic subjects feel really difficult for you. So what can we do that's going to help you? Right? Having these conversations out in the open make your child feel less alone and will make them feel like they actually have the support that they need to the direction that they're going, right? You want your child to go to school, but if they feel like they're not getting support, you're going to get that pushback. When you get them to feel like, I'm going to help you find that support, we're going to chat with your teacher, we're going to put in certain strategies in place, that's going to help your child feel comfortable and be more willing to go. So these are all my tips on how you can make that transition back to school much easier for your child. And remember, the time to work on this is now. So if you like this video, again, please like and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss episodes like this. Thanks so much for watching and see you guys in the next one.